Hello there, this is Vanessa Warwick. Welcome you to an interview with Tom Evans. And Tom is the author of a new book called Blocks. So welcome to the interview, Tom.
Thank you, Vanessa.
Give us a little synopsis of why you called the book Blocks and what's it all about.
Well, I've been mentoring authors now for a couple of years, and I saw a pattern with all the people that come to see me that there seemed to be, they came with what they call writer's block.
Mm-hmm.
But I found that every single time there was a corresponding block in their lives.
That's interesting.
So what I could do is I could free the block in their lives. Let's say it was time management or being tidy or organisation. So I'd free that block up, and then the corresponding writer's block would disappear by magic.
Fantastic.
Mm-hmm.
So
I call it just blocks.
Very, very simple and straightforward.
Yeah.
I'm fascinated by some of the terms that you use in the book, like whole brain and whole mind thinking. What do you mean by that, and what's the difference between them?
Well, you've heard that people say we only use like 1% or 5% of our brains, and that's really a measurement and observation of what's happened to our Western educated brains. Nothing wrong with it, it's just the way that things have happened when you go through our sort of education system and you use our technology and what have you, that we tend to use our left brain more than our right brain. Now in different cultures that's different. So what happens is our left brain is the hemisphere of reason, and it'll do things like say, don't write a book, you haven't got time, or don't write a book because people will make fun of you and think you're silly and won't like it. And then the right brain, which is really creative, gets suppressed. So whole brain thinking gets the two hemispheres working together. When they work together, they become incredibly powerful, and more of your brain switches on.
Fantastic.
So that's whole brain thinking. Whole mind thinking is when you start to use the left and right hemispheres, which is your conscious mind, in conjunction with your unconscious mind, and then other minds beyond that.
So it's really all about realising the full potential of your brain.
And your mind.
And your mind.
Yes.
Very interesting. Now you say in the book that both writers and authors can get blocked. What's the distinction between them?
Well, it's just the phase you are in your program, your process. So if you're in the generative side, so you're actually writing it, you can get stuck, and inspiration can dry up, things can get in the way, and that's writer's block. But I've noticed that a lot of people have been coming to me that have got a book written already, and they seem to be suffering from author's block, which is things to do with confidence, fear of failure, fear of ridicule, fear of success. And they seem to be using the excuse that publishers are hard to deal with as a reason for not going forward. And actually publishers are human too, and very professional about what they're doing, and with the right author there's no reason why anybody couldn't go forward with it and get a publishing deal. And so I work a lot with people getting their confidence up, preparing them to be an author, and all the things that you need to do around being an author in terms of creating your author platform, confidence at speaking, confidence at presenting, and getting the assets around the book, not just the book, but the interview, like we're doing an interview now, the podcasts, the blogs, the Twitter account, what have you.
So the technology side of it as well.
Technology side and confidence at the same time, using both together. Yeah.
That's fantastic. Yeah. So you explain everything very, very simply in the book, which is very easy to grasp. But just for the interview, what simple tips can you give writers that they can get going with straight away?
Well, the first thing that I tell people to do is to look at, I love win-win situations. So imagine you've got a habit you want to break. I don't know, you spend too much time on computer games or watching soaps or something like that, and you want to break that habit. If you can break that habit at the same time you create time to write, that's a really useful thing to do. Great motivation. But by far the best tip that I recommend to everybody is to learn how to meditate.
Right.
Because that will pay incredible dividends.
Because that essentially gets you in the zone where you're ready to let the creativity come out.
Exactly, that stillness. Now I used to think that meditating was a waste of time, and I couldn't switch my mind off. And I was busy, so how could I spend 20 minutes every day meditating? Now if I don't spend 20 minutes meditating, I have a worse day. And it saves me hours, that 20 minutes saves me hours a day. It doesn't mean you have to sit in a dark room. You can meditate while out walking or ironing or even driving, so long as you don't use other techniques. Most people that have driven somewhere and haven't remembered getting to the end have been in a meditative state. So it's quite a natural state, and there are phenomenal benefits to your health, your blood pressure, your stress levels go down. So why not meditate?
Absolutely,
Yeah.
absolutely. It's a good habit to get into.
Absolutely. And there are even machines now you can buy, like iPod-like machines you can buy to help you meditate.
Yes.
Yeah.
Now, I was fascinated by this idea of actually stretching time. Is that through being in a meditative state?
Absolutely. Once you get experience at meditating, you can actually be in what's called eyes open meditation. You ever been in that sort of time where time just seems to either flow or stop, and you seem to get loads and loads done? And you look at your watch, and only an hour's gone by, but you seem to have done 4 hours worth of work. Obviously, an interruption-free environment helps in that, but getting in that meditative state is really, really important, and it involves actually switching your conscious mind off. And in the book, there's techniques for doing that, and the book also comes with some audio visualizations that help train your mind getting into that state.
So if we can get our minds into that state, we can be so much more productive.
In all fields,
In
not
all
just writing a
fields,
book. Yeah, absolutely.
So it's very useful, not just to writers or authors, but really to everybody who wants to make the most of their time and be more productive.
Yeah, when I started writing the book, it was specifically aimed at people writing a book, so authors. But it actually applies to anybody. If you're writing a sales proposal or a blog or some marketing collateral, or whatever, anyone that's involved in the process of writing this book really can help them. And if it could change the way that the planet behaved and everyone became less stressed, calmer, and healthier, that would be a fantastic collateral benefit.
Oh, it would.
Yeah.
It'd be a great outcome for you to have achieved that. You mentioned the audio visualizations. How exactly do they work?
Well, they're very simple. They're all done in what's called MP3 format. Download them from the web straight to your iPod or your MP3 player, or your iPhone, or you can burn a CD and play them on your computer or a CD drive. They're very short. They're like meditation, but not really meditation, and they introduce you to the meditative state. And they use a very gentle hypnotic language to do things like removing fears around your success and maybe fears of failure. They do things that they take you to the time in the future when you are a successful author, and they implant that in your neurology. And then what seems to happen is everything seems to conspire around you, like meeting the right publisher, the right agent, finding the right printer, or the graphic designer, if you will. All of these things seem to happen by magic when you use these sort of, they're called timeline techniques.
It sounds very, very practical. And when people can actually use practical things themselves in their own time, I think that's a really good way forward to use these techniques.
Absolutely, and as I say, the health benefits in addition are just phenomenal. Yeah.
So how do we get a copy of Blocks?
Well, you go to my website's called thebookright.com, which bookright spelled like playwright, but with a book instead of a play. And a write, by the way, is a wrouter, someone that wroughts things. So, and it's bookright.com/blocks.
Fantastic.
Simple as that.
And on there we can find out more about you and the work that you do with authors and writers.
Yeah, because I do workshops as well and one-to-one mentoring and that sort of thing. And in fact, all my materials are available online as well as in physical workshops.
Brilliant.
Yeah.
So good luck with Blocks.
Thank you, Vanessa.
That's the author, Tom Evans, talking about his new book, Blocks. Hope you've enjoyed the interview. Thanks for watching.